I want to talk about preparing a chisel for hand tool work. Any chisel that you get is going to require this work to some degree or another. The more premium chisels that you will buy will probably require less of this kind of work, but they're all going to require some. There are specific things that you have to do to a woodworking chisel that you're going to use in hand tools in order to prepare that chisel to be used properly for hand tool work. This is a Narex premium chisel that I recently received. If you look at this chisel, it's nicely polished and nicely ground. Lovely chisel. But it needs work. They all need work. What I have here, to begin, I have a combination diamond stone. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a diamond stone, but I have a 400 grit on this side and a 1000 grit on the other side. This is just basically water and a spray bottle. What we're going to do is we're going to take this chisel and we're going to lay it on the stone. And we're going to move it back and forth. And then we're going to look. See now, if you notice, we've got a hollow here, and you can see the stone is hitting here, and it's hitting here, but I have this hollow here. Now, that's a good thing. What you have to understand, a lot of the reason you have to do this is that the chisel has to be very, very sharp. And a lot of woodworkers will tell you you have to flatten this whole back because they will tell you you need to be able to register the chisel against the surface of the work to pare properly, or all kinds of stuff. And I'm not discounting that, but this hollow in the center, if you notice Japanese chisels, they're made with a hollow in the center. If I have flat here and a little bit of hollow, that's all I need. I don't need to flatten the entire back of this chisel. It's not necessary. In my opinion, the reason that you want to polish this part of the chisel is because even though this chisel is a single bevel, it only has one bevel. In order to sharpen something, what you want is two planes meeting at the finest apex that you can possibly get. And so even though there's no bevel on this side, the back part of this chisel is a part of the edge of this chisel. And if I just polish this and don't polish that, my edge is still going to be ragged, because I can polish this until I'm about ready to pass out. Unless this edge meets and is polished to the same degree as this, I'm not going to have a fine edge. So that, in my opinion, is what's going on. This is just water. I don't know if I said or not. So we're going to start with the 400, and we've laid the chisel flat on the stone like this. And I could stop right now because this chisel is ground so well, it's flattened so well, that's absolutely perfect. That's all the work I need to do. Now, you might end up with a chisel that requires a whole lot more work than this. For me, that's blooming good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on this bevel. We're going to take the chisel, we're going to present it to the stone, and you're going to feel when that contacts. So we're going to contact that, and then we're going to lock our wrists, and we're going to move forward. Now, if you look, we're actually sharpening right here and right here because there's a bit of a hollow, because this was sharpened on a grinding wheel. That's going to aid us in sharpening because we don't have to polish this whole bevel. But now as we set this on this stone and I move my hand back and forth, there's going to be a natural sort of what Paul Sellers calls a camber or a curve, a convexity that happens to the edge of the chisel. Some people don't particularly like that. I have found that it works wonderfully well, and I think it makes the edge of the chisel stronger. So we're going to go ahead and grind on this, and what we're going to do, I want to sharpen this until I get a burr all the way across the entire back of this chisel. And we have a burr, but I'm going to go a little bit more just to make sure that I've got it good. And I can feel a really, matter of fact, I don't know, but you might be able to see that. And what I think is that that's weak steel from the manufacturing process. Now if I pull that, hold on a minute. You see that? You can see that burr, that foil edge. Sometimes with new chisels, because of the tempering process, you'll get this very edge is weak. And I think that's what that is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that. And actually, I'm going to use a strop to try to help me remove that. And you can see some of it. I don't know if you can or not, laying on this stone. Here. Here and here. Here, trying to get it on my finger. That's that burr that I pulled off of there. Now I'm going to do it again because I'm just trying to make sure that the edge that I get is a true edge, not a false one. And the thing of it is, you might have to do this the first few times that you use this chisel. It might not hold an edge very well. Give the thing time to kind of polish, or not polish, but hone that burr, hone that weak spot off of this chisel. Some people will leave that burr on to the very last of the sharpening. That's what I'm talking about. Just cutting hair cleanly. I remove it during the process. It just depends what you want. Now what we're going to do, it's shaving hair really well. So I want to flip this stone over now and move over to the 1,000 grit side. Polish that out, and then I'm going to do the same to the back side of this chisel. I want that back where the edge meets just as polished as the bevel of this chisel is. Lovely. That's what I want. I'm going to give her, put it down, find the edge. Lovely. So now that we've got that done, and I'm just going to do that. Now we're going to move to an 8,000 grit stone. This is a water stone. Now, I will go past this, but 8,000 is pretty much, you really don't need to go past this, and in actuality, this type of edge, that a really high grit edge, will only stay for a little while. The chisel will at some point fall back in sharpness to a point where the steel has an edge holding ability that will maintain a particular level of sharpness for however long it can. And so when you go up in refinement, a lot of times that refinement doesn't last a super long time, but it's well worth doing. Same procedure. Lovely. Yeah, I know, I don't need to do this now. See, that passes over my arm hair, and I do not even feel it cut. So now what I'm going to do, you could stop right there, go to a pace that's dropped. Probably the majority of woodworkers do that. I go one step further now. I used to not, but I do now. This is an Arkansas gray. It is not an Arkansas in the traditional sense of the very hard novaculate stones like a Arkansas black or a soft Arkansas or a translucent Arkansas or what this is a stone that's mined and cut by a gentleman named Jonathan Cove, CoWhite stones. And it is a natural stone that he reckons polishes to a level that's comparable to a 15,000 grit stone. Understand that natural stones don't have a grit rating and they are variable. But this stone, I believe, is right close to that in the way that the finish looks. The difference is, once again, that it's a natural stone, but this stone cuts really, really fast compared to what it is to the polish that it leaves. And I like to go just one step further. On a stone like this. But this stone is soft. It's softer than a water stone is. And you will gouge it if you try to use any kind of pressure. But the thing about this stone is you don't need any pressure. It cuts with the lightest of touch. And I love this stone. It's a fantastic stone for honing straight razors as well. A finished stone for straight razor honing. Look at that. Just a gorgeous. Gorgeous finish. And so now, as a finishing step, what I will do is I'll take a strop. This is just a flat piece of wood with a piece of leather on it. You could just use a piece of pine 2x4 that you took a plane and flattened completely, and you could rub chromium oxide paste on that and use that for a strop. You don't even have to have leather if you don't want it. But I'm going to put it in this vise, and this is chromium oxide paste. It says green finishing compound on it. I got this at Harbor Freight. If you're using this kind of compound for a straight razor, you need razor quality. This works perfectly fine for tools and things of that nature. But I'm going to charge this strop with this compound. And I'm going to take this chisel, I'm going to lay it like this, and I'm going to put my hand here. And understand, you're going to pull. You can't go this way or you'll basically cut the strop. But you're going to pull. About 30 or 40 times. Then you're gonna lay it flat like you were on the stone. Pull it back. This is end grain pine. End grain is one of the hardest things that you will cut. That'll do anything you need. No problem. See how cleanly it's cutting that? It's not tearing it or anything of the sort. That's what you want. as an addendum to what you just saw, I just showed the sharpening of the 3/4 inch or 20 millimeter chisel. And I started at 400. But the subsequent chisels I tried from 1,000 grit on up. And these chisels are so well made and so well prepped that the 400 was not needed. I could go straight from the 1,000 to the 8,000 to the natural stone, the high grit natural stone, or high polish rather, high grit. No grit in the natural stone. High polish natural stone with no problem. So these chisels are ground really well, they're made really well, and I'm really pleased with them. There was very little that I really had to do to get these ready for woodworking. As a matter of fact, this chisel is so sharp that it sliced clean through my chisel roll. So I'll have to get a new chisel roll. I just sliced that one wide open. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.